What is going on, my St. Louis City fam? I'm your girl Kelly, here to give you the rundown on what happened in St. Louis City government this week, and here's what you need to know. So first, crime receipts, aka crime data, was the topic of discussion during this week's Public Safety Committee meeting. A bill was discussed, introduced by Alderman Vaccaro, that will authorize the police chief to enter into an agreement with RTI International, aka the Research Triangle Institute, to provide crime data for the years 2015 to 2023. So what is this about? The city of St. Louis has been involved in the Project Safe Neighborhoods program for at least a decade. And this program, it was launched in 2001. It's a nationwide initiative spearheaded by the Department of Justice. And it brings together federal, state, local, and tribal law enforcement officials, prosecutors, community leaders, and other stakeholders to identify the most pressing violent crime problems in a community and develop comprehensive solutions to address those problems. So the Research Triangle folks are hired by the Department of Justice to collect the data and to analyze it, and they get this data from the cities that participate in the Project Safe Neighborhoods program. The Department of Justice then used that data to make recommendations based on best practices for cities to implement that reduce violent crime. So as I mentioned, the city has participated in this program for a decade, so this ain't nothing new. What did members of the committee have to say about this bill, right? So Alderman Bosley, he was the most vocal of the members, expressing his concern with who these people are. I mean, he went on the website, saw the board of the research people. It was just white folks, and he said, I ain't checking for this. And also he said, for all they know, for all the city knows, some of these board members could be buying stocks in jails. I mean, we don't know who these people are. And he just, said, quote, we need to start vetting who we send our data to. Several of the committee members expressed the need of more police officers, specifically those in white shirts. So we're talking about folks that are in the lieutenant rank and up, doing more beats. So, walking around in the community, because this really helps building that relationship between the community and the police. And Police Chief Hayden, as a response to that, because he was present at the meeting, he said that right now the police department is working on assigning lieutenants, so some of those white shirts, to patrols in the neighborhood. So what was the final verdict with this bill? It passed out of committee with a due pass recommendation, and will head to the full board of aldermen for their full approval. The second thing you need to know. So the board of aldermen is looking to spend $86.9 million of its ARPA, aka American Rescue Plan Act, federal coin on capital improvements in the city of St. Louis. So Alderman Oldenburg sponsored, so this was discussed during the Ways and Means Committee meeting. And again, this bill, it requests the usage of the ARPA coin in this way. So what are capital improvements? So in a nutshell, capital improvements are major repairs or overhauls of structures. So when we're talking about like bridges and lighting, as well as major repairs of city buildings. So why is this request being made using ARPA coin? So in total, the city of St. Louis needs $428 million to make all of the needed capital improvements for the city. And $178 million of that are classified as critical, meaning that whatever we're talking about is about to break down. So the funding to make these improvements comes from the city's capital fund, and the cost of that fund in any given year is between $25 to $30 million. And money from that goes to that fund comes from several sources. So a 1/2 cent sales tax. So yes, y'all, 1/2 cent of a sales tax. A percentage of gaming and garage revenues. Also, if there's money left over from the budget, a percentage of that goes to the city's capital fund. So I want to bring this back to y'all because it's a lot of numbers I threw, but I just want to make sure you get this point, right? $428 million is needed to make all of the improvements in the city. 178 of those are flagged as critical, but we got $25 to $30 million to work with to make these improvements. And most of that coin, it comes from a 1/2 penny sales tax. So y'all, that's not even enough to address half of the critical improvements we have in the city. So that's why they requesting this ARPA funding to address those needs. So the request is for $86.9 million. What improvements are we talking about? So $16.1 million will go towards the fire department, and this would include things like ambulance replacements. $15.7 million go to the corrections and other public safety needs. So that includes things such as improvements to the city jail and the emergency dispatch center. $14 million is going to streets, and most of that would include paving. Yes, paving streets, y'all, such as Union, Grand, Kings Highway, and Jefferson. $10.4 million going towards bridges, which would result in the repairing of 20% of the bridges in the city. $10.2 million will go towards non-police fire city vehicles, which includes vehicles used by the streets, refuse, forestry, and parks departments. $8.2 million will go to other municipal buildings and equipment, which includes asbestos removal for the medical examiner, as well as plumbing upgrades for the juvenile court. $6.5 million will go to parks, recreation, and forestry, which would include things such as rec center improvements. And about $5.8 million will go to the police department, which would include elevator replacements at their headquarters, as well as replacing 71 of the department's Chevy Tahoes. This meeting was over 6 hours long, y'all. Why was this meeting so long? So the police and fire chiefs, they spoke a little bit and they kikied with the committee. Then about 20 members from St. Louis, from the community, made statements about the bill. Pretty much all of them were against the bill because they weren't checking for the police department getting ARPA coin. Then you had the budget director, Brother Paul Payne. He kikied with the committee. And there were seven amendments that were voted on during the meeting. And then you had Alderman Jeffrey Boyd, and he was completely against the bill. He kept it not one, not two, but $3, saying that he ain't for using ARPA funds for any capital improvements, point blank, period. He's like, I ain't compromising at all. I am not supporting this bill. So he was going back and forth. But I'm going to let y'all hear him speak. And this is what he said when it came down to the final vote from the Ways and Means Committee members on this bill.
People on this board that always talk about data. Everything's about data driven. Give me the evidence from the Citizen Service Bureau that has the best data that we can come back about what's going on in our community. Let's look at the 911 calls. We just had a meeting today with the police committee, the chief of police, John Hayden, about how we're going to give all this data from 2013, 2015, wherever it is, to somebody to analyze and tell us what best practices is. Let me suggest to you, we already know. We already know what the best practices are. And we just need to do what's right. We have been denied in the West Side and the North Side for years, for decades, with all the incentives from the tips, from the tax abatement, from low-income tax credit, from rebuilding downtown to South St. Louis to Central Quarter. And now you want to take these ARPA dollars right now, and then you want to tell me, oh, don't worry about it, Jeffrey Boyd. We got you. Because the rest of the money that's coming, that $200 million, we're going to give it to North St. Louis. I ain't buying it. You cannot convince me of that. And shame on you if you think you can. I am an advocate for North St. Louis. I say things that people don't want to say. And I don't give a damn if you like the way I said or not, because we are due our just due. And I'm tired of being taken advantage of. I'm tired of people that don't look like me deciding what's good for my community. I'm tired of it. And there's no way I'm going to vote for this damn bill. I'm done.
So what was the final verdict? The bill, it passed out of committee with a due pass recommendation and will head to the full Board of Aldermen for their approval. And Alderman Boyd, he was the only no vote on that bill. Lastly, but certainly not least, we have the legislative corner, y'all. So there were bills passed I spoke about maybe a couple weeks ago where improvements to the streets were proposed to move along some projects. So specifically the Target that's going to be built near SLU, the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra, they got something in the works, the expansion of the convention center, as well as improvements to Preservation Square. There was a bill passed authorizing the health department to accept a National Association of County and City Health Officials implementing overdose prevention strategies at the local level grant of $500,000, and a bill to watch. So Alderman Bosley introduced a bill this past week pertaining to the creation of funds to assist the city's efforts to support African Americans who have been victims of the effects of slavery, authorizing the comptroller to establish the reparations fund and establish the Midwest Land Development Fund. That's all I have for y'all this week. Please stay safe out there. You'll see me soon. Peace.